The other thing that we do that's very specific to contact centers is that we have a certification program. And through that certification program, we get invited by top performing organizations to essentially come in and look under the covers. So we get an opportunity to go to over 200 top performing contact centers and really understand what specifically is it that they do from a hiring perspective all the way to management, to compensation, to rewards and recognition, to the configuration of the floor, to how their mission, vision, and value statements are integrated throughout the organization. What is it that they do to create an experience that shows up in a survey? And so this is, I love the theme of the Institute, where theory meets practice. Very similar setup here. This is, slightly beyond theory. This is, research as to hopefully what is driving satisfaction. And this over here are these specific things, operational behaviors that an organization has to create a outcome. And that's kind of what J.D. Power brings to the table from a customer satisfaction perspective in the contact center space. All right, real quickly, just wanted to talk a little bit about what drives customer satisfaction very broadly in two major categories. The first is durable goods and the second one is service. You can see that, and we talked a lot about that today. Most of the speakers today have been talking about product and product industries. And obviously there's a huge other half, the service industries, which makes up actually, I think it makes up a larger percentage of gross domestic product than the product industry does. But you can see why there's so much need to really understand on the product side from earlier speakers as to what resonates with somebody in terms of the buying cycle. This end on the service industries, it's not nearly as important regarding the product, right? Most of the importance is all built into, or more of the importance rather, is built into the people aspect, the price, and to some degree the process. And it's fascinating when you look at these industries over a 10-year trend, what has happened. In 10 years in the durable market industry, you can see that customer satisfaction has gone up. But the difference between the highest performer, which is here, and the lowest performer has shrunk. And of course that makes sense, right? Because you're in a manufacturing, Six Sigma, let's get rid of defects mentality, and the product, which in product satisfaction, durable good satisfaction rather, it's really about product and product quality. The number one driver of, or indicator of customer satisfaction inside automobiles is problems per 100. And that means problems per 100 cars. What's so fascinating about that is that the number one producer in the world still can't get to less than a problem per car. It's well over a problem per car. It's close to 135 problems per 100 cars produced. Isn't that amazing? But what's also interesting is that it has plummeted from where it used to be. And now the best producer of cars is, there's not quite the gulf that it is between the two back 10 years ago because automation and manufacturing has really weeded out the problems. Now, conversely, customer satisfaction has dipped in service industries over the last 10 years. And the other fascinating thing is that the disparity between the low performer and the high performer has gotten much wider. So one of the reasons why that is what we're going to really focus on today. In the service industry, because the products are so much more generic, there is a greater market need to attempt to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And that is where a lot of the research that we bring to bear has shown has been going on. Those organizations who are striving to delight their customers are making massive investments in things like soft skill, not necessarily the product itself, but it is how an organization or entity engages and interfaces with a customer, much more so than those folks on the product side. Okay, let's talk about this phenomenon that's going on in the world, particularly of customer service or after the sale service. This is call center satisfaction drivers and trends, and the easiest way to read this is to obviously correlate the attribute, which is promptness in getting to the right person, with the ranking and then the weight. Over here is the relative importance weight of this particular attribute to the overall satisfaction of somebody who has gotten in touch with a human being on the other end of the phone. What you can see is that promptness has gone up, timeliness, this is timeliness of resolution or problem, has gone up in importance, where courtesy and concern have actually gone down in relative importance. Now what this doesn't mean is that organizations who are really, really fast win the day. Because if you're rude but fast, folks don't appreciate it, right? None of our top performers does poorly in any of these measures, but we know that consumers as a whole are valuing promptness and speed in their time more so than ever, and that's really the primary takeaway. The question becomes is why is that, and why is that true for the person calling into a rep in a call center interaction? At the end of the day, it is the influence of these self-service channels that's having a profound effect on how people want to deal with their carbon. We have our silicon and we have our carbon, how they want to deal with the actual human beings who they chat with. They are all about the speed, simply because folks today can gain control, and this is a very key point. They can gain control of their interaction, not necessarily get resolution, but they can gain control of their interaction faster through self-service channels than they can through a human channel, and that is bleeding over. So the best practitioners inside of contact centers are those who are figuring out ways to make the customer feel in control as quickly as possible. One of the things that takes away from that is this IVR, right? If you call in, we've all had horror stories, perhaps, about, or at the very minimum, not horror stories is a total hyperbole, but unpleasant experiences with IVR, and just the fact that we're waiting, we don't know how long it's going to be. Little tiny things, little tweaks in the IVR allowing people to understand how long they're going to be online, allows them to get a modicum of control back, which reduces their stress and improves their customer satisfaction. It's literally just a few words here and there can totally change someone's impression and ultimate satisfaction. But it's an interesting world that we're living in as all these channels converge, and how each one has an influence on each other. And we see it here even at the CSR level, that people need to get to their CSR very quickly. I pick retail banking satisfaction as a illustrative point to talk about what's going on inside the contact center world, and why nobody who is picking up the phone has to worry about their jobs. People are not going to get replaced by IVR self-service. They're not going to get replaced by web self-service. If anything, the folks who are answering the phone right now today are far more important than they were 5 years ago when the call volume was actually higher. Now, why is that true?